In 2002, at the age of 15, Haley Kilpatrick dreamed of a program that would help middle school girls deal with the problems of being a young teenager. She then founded Girl Talk, a program where high school girls help middle school girls deal with the triumphs and trials of being a young teenage girl. Now she is 25 years old. She is an author, and currently Girl Talk is in 43 different states and 4 different countries. Please welcome Haley Kilpatrick.
I'm excited to tell the story, not from the point of success, but from the point of challenges and obstacles, frustrations that lead us directly to our passions and our purpose. So if you'll join me, I'll take you through the valleys and you can better understand the mountaintops. No worries. I'll start by telling you that my story started in South Georgia, in Albany, Georgia, and it was a fun upbringing. I went to an inner middle school. I went to a school that was integrated, an elementary school that was filled with all different backgrounds. My parents were extremely passionate about my brother, sister, and I going to a school that encompassed all different backgrounds. And it wasn't until 3rd grade that I became friends with Robert. Robert, who sat behind me, he didn't have enough money for school supplies, lunch, and sometimes even clean clothes. And it was really a moving story in that he got his name on the board. He got his name on the board for not having his paper to write his report. And at lunch, he was crying. And I went home and I talked to my mom. And I said, "Mom, Robert didn't have enough money for school supplies. That's why he got his name on the board." And my mom said one question that rings true today and will ring true for you. She said, "What are you going to do about it?" And as an 8-year-old, I thought, what do you think I can do about it? I'm in 3rd grade. Can't you just take me to Walmart and get school supplies for Robert? I mean, really? And she said, "What are you going to do about it?" So after a couple of days of coming up with ideas, the answer was pretty simple. It was, well, let's have a lemonade stand. Let's sell popcorn. So she spent much more than $20 getting the supplies needed to sell lemonade and popcorn in our front yard to help raise money for Robert's school supplies. That story is a big part of my story because together with my brother and sister and several of our peers, we raised enough money not only for Robert to get school supplies, but we raised more than $800 over the course of 3 months to start a school supply budget for kids in our school who couldn't afford school supplies. I was then transferred into, or I would say not so much transferred, but my parents, both whom worked full-time, put education first and worked really hard to send me to a college preparatory school. That experience was a pretty interesting one in that I went from feeling like I had everything. I had all our basic needs. We had a small house. At one point, my parents shared a car. We never had to worry about clean clothes or school supplies or what we were going to eat for our next meal. But this next school, it changed everything for me. I immediately was a pauper, properly named Crisco, for being the greasy girl from the other side of the tracks by my peers. They all were donned in their, let's see, not to age myself, but Gap jeans, Timberland boots, North Face fleeces, LL Bean book bags with their names monogrammed on the back, and they were overwhelmed by their need to feed their Tamagotchi in their locker. You probably don't know what that is. For you parents, thank you. So those 3 years were filled with a lot of tears, a lot of questions. Why me? What's wrong with me? How do I get through this? How do my brother and sister get through this? Why is middle school this way? Why do girls treat each other this way? Why? It wasn't until I started 9th grade that I realized I had to do something about it. My sister was going to start 6th grade, and I couldn't bear the idea. I couldn't bear the thought that she too would have 3 years of torture ahead of her. I went to my mom. I said, I have an idea. She drove me to the IHOP on Slappy Road, and I said, Mom, we have to do something about this. And her smile back was so big, as though that seed she'd planted in 8th grade resonated with me. It was something that had been cultivated, something that had been nurtured, not just then for Robert, but over the course of years. She said, whatever your idea is, I support it. And I said, what if we create something? What if we create something in our school where high school girls can mentor middle school girls, where high school girls can say, you're not alone. I too have been there. I know what you're going through. And while it may not get better, I'll walk alongside you. I'll carry you across. And in the meantime, I'll learn through teaching you. She was there at that first meeting with her introverted 10th grader with red splotches all over my neck, armpit stains to go with it, terrified to speak in front of anyone, and she said, you can do it. My sister showed up. I thought 5 or 6 of her friends would join her. 80% of the middle school girls showed up to the first meeting. 80% of the girls were feeling those same feelings I had as a middle schooler, the feeling of not belonging, not having enough, not being enough. We moved from a classroom to the library, where we talked about all that it was like to be a middle schooler, but more importantly, we talked about our journey together and how we would continue to come together to share that we were not alone. I'm extremely proud and honored to tell you that today, 10 years later, almost to the date, Girl Talk is a national nonprofit that's serving more than 42,000 girls all over the country. It's a free program where high school girls come together. They meet once a week, most of the time in circles. They're real, they're authentic. We do service projects together. They lead. High school girls lead middle school girls through what has scientifically been proven to be the most formative years of their lives. The lives of middle school girls who will one day be making some of the most important decisions, not necessarily in boardrooms, but under the roofs of their own homes, setting an example to their daughters, to their sons, on the importance of authenticness, the importance of humility, the importance of kindness, and how it's some of those very words that plant the seed that can change a life. They can give a child the confidence to ask the questions we've heard today, the what ifs, that you can do something about it, that you can dream big, you can do anything at all. And it is my goal to continue forging forward with the help of many other people, many other dreamers, many other high school girls who say, I want to take advantage of a leadership opportunity, and it not cost one penny, but their time, energy, and leadership. And for middle school girls to learn from those they look up to the most, and together do service and learn that that's such an integral part of being a quality human being, not the part of giving, but the gift of receiving and giving back. Over the course of 10 years, I've learned 3 things, and I hope you young people will hear me. This isn't just limited to girls, but it's also inclusive of every male in this room. Over the course of 10 years, we've learned the importance of 3 things, and you may have 1 or 2 of these in your life, but these 3 things combined together in tandem can be transformative for any middle or high school boy, whether you have Girl Talk or not. The first one is the importance of service. Community service can be transformative. And no, it doesn't have to be something that's organized and you're told just to get in your car, do this because your family or your school or your community group is doing it. Find something that rocks you to your core, something that frustrates you. It frustrated me that middle school was such a terrible time for me, and years later I've come to learn it's such an awful time for most females in their lives. Service can be such a gift to any middle school boy or girl who's having a tough time. It allows you to step outside of yourself, to get perspective. Not only to know that you're not alone, but to feel needed, to feel wanted. The second thing is an anchor activity. Anything, whether you're introverted like myself, whether you're an extrovert and you feel recharged by being around groups of people. An anchor activity can be a sport, it can be playing an instrument, it could be a craft, an activity, whatever it is, find something that will anchor you outside of school to pour your talents into and to feel needed. The third, and perhaps the story of my life, is the importance of a mentor. A peer mentor, someone who is slightly older than you, someone who has gone slightly before you and can reach out a hand and walk you across and comforting you and letting you know you're not alone. For Girl Talk, it encompasses these three things. For my life, these three things were some of my darkest days, some of my greatest obstacles. Not having a peer mentor, learning a little bit too late the importance of service, and not quite having my anchor activity to keep me grounded. But I can assure you it's my life's purpose and it's my life's mission. And in high school and bringing those three things together, it formed that aha, that light bulb moment of even though we may not all be privileged to have these things, it's never too late to start. So it is with great humility that I tell you, you are never too young to make a difference. And in the spirit of my mom, who's here today, I'm going to leave you with one question. What are you going to do about what frustrates you?